polls showing impeachment support is weaker in the key battleground states. President Trump's former senior advisor Steve Bannon thinks the impeachment push will backfire on Democrats. Listen.
And I think Adam Schiff did the president a great service this week by having these hearings and letting people see what's going on. And now you're seeing in these 31 districts, many of these congressmen have to go home and have to defend this week. It's going to be a tough week for Democrats.
Yeah.
To former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove. Karl, great to see you. Do you think Steve Bannon is right?
Well, I think the Democrats have overplayed their hand. And I think they're going to face resistance among the key group of swing voters who have apparently, even if they don't like the president, they have yet to be convinced that there's something that would cause them to vote for the Congress to vote for his removal from office. So, so far, the Democrats have had high expectations and underdelivered.
Well, and they also have a very imperfect spokesperson in the form of Adam Schiff, who a lot of people think has been trying to sell the public false goods for a while. First, he said he had hard evidence of Russian collusion. Then we had Mr. Mueller come out and say not so. And so you have this imperfect salesman who's taking center stage. That couldn't help them.
No, not at all. And look, I've had a personal experience with Mr. Schiff and investigations. He was investigating the lead for the Democrats on the 2007 investigation of the Bush administration's removal of 5 U.S. attorneys. And so I spent roughly 10 hours one day being interrogated by Schiff. I was completely unimpressed, and it was completely partisan. And he made a series of allegations following that turned out to be simply, not any basis in fact whatsoever. And even an Obama administration investigation of the matter came to an entirely different set of conclusions, and no actions were taken. But according to Schiff, at the end of this 10 hours of testimony, behind closed doors, under oath, all kinds of bad things were going to happen. None of it came to fruition. And this is the fundamental problem for the Democrats. When impeachment has been done successfully, that is to say, a broad national consensus is formed behind it. We've seen one in the last 50 years in the Richard Nixon impeachment. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee was so impartial and fair that at the end of the process, advocates for President Nixon applauded his fairness. He had a Republican chair, he had a Republican lead counsel. The president's lawyer was in all of the meetings. The president's lawyer was able to suggest witnesses and to ask questions. At the end of the presentation of any evidence, the president's lawyer was able to frame it from the president's perspective. None of that happened in this. And it's hard enough, even when you do that, to get a broad consensus. The Republicans in the Clinton impeachment followed the exact same pattern that Democrat Peter Rodino had done in the Nixon investigation, and they were still unable to form a big national consensus that President Clinton should be removed from office. Democrats are not doing it the way that they've done it in the past, and as a result, it's even less likely to produce a large national consensus that President Trump should be removed from office. They can't prove that he did something that's worthy of being impeached.
And to your political point, many people point to Will Hurd, the moderate Republican who has no reason to vote reflexively for Donald Trump. He's been pretty straight down the line in support or opposition, depending on the issue. But he's saying that this doesn't rise to impeachment. This shows that virtually no Republican is going to join with Democrats on this, right?
Well, this is an interesting thing to me, because if you watch what the Democrat response to all this is not, hey, maybe we aren't proving our case. It's, why aren't the Republicans coming across and supporting our perspective? And they're being backed up in the media. I was shocked. One of our cable competitors this morning in one of their political newsletters, in talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, said there is no evidence of wrongdoing by the Bidens. They're bending over backwards to the media to support the Democratic narrative that what the test is here is, why aren't the Republicans breaking from Trump, not why aren't the Democrats making a case that convince people to come across to join them. And then they're also treating the Bidens as if there is no problem with Hunter Biden going on the Burisma board, while the Vice President of the United States, his father, is lecturing the Ukrainians about how they need to step up their anti-corruption efforts.
That's a different story from the story that we were hearing back in 2015, when the New York Times actually editorialized that Hunter Biden had to step down from the board of Burisma because there was too much conflict of interest.
Exactly right. And the New York Times broke this story with a piece by James Risen, who's clearly not somebody who's center-right, who's clearly center-left, and quoted on December 15th, I believe it was, a whole series of anti-corruption experts inside Ukraine saying, doesn't the Obama administration get the weirdness of having Hunter Biden on the board and his father lecturing us about anti-corruption efforts as much as we support those efforts?
We got to go, but as they say in politics and sometimes in journalism, not here, though, don't let facts get in the way of a good narrative. I think that plays out here. Karl,
that's right.
Great to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.